Hey guys, welcome back to my channel for an all new episode recap of today's series of our lives, May 21st, 2025. This was such a very explosive episode, so we have to save the best for last. But let's get this out the way, right? So today is the Sip and Paid fundraiser. So Stephanie, Kat, Chad, they're there. It's all for a good cause. So, Chad and Kat were catching up about, their impending auction date, which is, skydiving. So Stephanie was eavesdropping. She's like, date. So, never mind, it's none of my business. So Kat tells her what's going on and that it's just all for charity. So she and Kat get to talking while Chad was on the phone because he was supposed to meet up with Maggie as well, right? Because remember, Maggie auctioned him, for I think it was $1 million or something like that. So he was on the phone with her, and Cat face dropped because, of course, we all know she's been pining for Chad, and this whole cat and mouse thing, literally, it's so annoying, right? So Stephanie asked her about her day, and she said, it's platonic, nothing is going on. So she said, I can tell that you guys have these signals for each other. I can tell that you guys are into each other, but let me just say, I don't think it would work. And she's like, I know you're still angry at me for, portraying your late cousin. She said, I'm past that. And Chad is clearly past that, but I just don't want him or the kids to be hurt. And also for you, like, I don't want you to be waiting around because when I was with Chad, he definitely was still not over Abigail. So I don't want you just there waiting, right? So again, it's not Stephanie's business to really tell Kat and Chad if they should date or not. She shouldn't have even been with Chad in the first place because she's Abigail's cousin, and that to me was kind of a betrayal, right? I don't know why they put them together. I still don't know. So Alex is also there because he's supporting the fundraiser, and they're catching up about Philip, and that he's telling Stephanie how pretty beat up Philip is, and they're thinking it's Xander, and it's making sense because when him and Stephanie were in the square, they saw Xander, and he was acting really strange, and then he's been upset with Philip, working beside him on the truth, and just the whole thing with the hospital going under, so he's been very on edge. So they're thinking maybe he could have something to do with it. They're hoping not, and hoping that Philip pulls through, right? So Chanel and Johnny are back in Abe and Paulina's place. They're back together. They moved in, and they're just trying to make up for lost time. Paulina interrupts them coming in with a key, and she asks them for $1. So they're like wondering why she needs $1. So she said that's the last thing she has to do to put in I guess the closing for this house, because she and Abe moved to a bigger town now. So now Chanel and Johnny can be the new owners. So they're really surprised, and they're like, can we pitch in more? So she's like, no, this is your gift after everything you've been through, and you guys are back together. It's my gift to you guys, right? So they're really happy about it. So she asks if they want to come to the fundraiser. So they agree to come, to support her, right? So Brady and Alex were at the hospital because they're just there to check on Philip, and they can't believe how badly beaten Philip is. And Alex is thinking, is saying that Xander's actually the police for questioning. So he doesn't want to believe that Xander had something to do with this. And Brady's surprised because they've been getting along well, and Alex is saying it's an internal problem, but I'm just hoping just for the sake of our family that he didn't do that to Philip. And he's asking Brady if Xander has those kind of tendencies like that. So Brady remembers how he was with him when Sarah was paralyzed, and he was using the bat to get at Brady for it. So he remembers, and he said, let's just hope that Xander is really turned around for good, right? So the fundraiser is going on, and Paulina, Johnny, Chanel, Chad, Kat, Stephanie, Brady, and Alex, they're there to to support it. And they're doing this painting and sipping wine. So it's a lot of small conversations going on. You have Paulina, and Paulina was suggesting that they paint nude guys to make it interesting, but nobody wants to do that. So Kat is suggesting that they paint a fruit bowl. She's thinking it's too boring, and Kat was saying to Chad if it's too boring, maybe the guys can strip down to their underwear, and Chad is not into that, so they just stick with the fruit bowl idea. So around the bar and everything, everything. You have Paulina, she's drawing her interesting picture, a well endowed man, and you have Chanel and Johnny, drawing paintings of, their new home welcoming or whatever. So it was really that. And another conversation was with Stephanie, Brady, and Alex, and they talk about, Brady's father coming home, and he's happy about that. And yeah, they talk about Philip, and hopefully he gets better. And what else? So you had Chad and Kat making googly eyes, and Kat is helping him with his paint suggestions and how to paint a certain way and all of that. And that was really it. They did, when it ended, Johnny Chanel went back to christen their new home, if by christening, wink wink. And Paulina's back home, back at the place, and Brady's offering to take her home, and she was like, yeah, you can critique my painting and all that. So yeah, it was really that. And Chad said that he had to leave. um so Kat said, okay, so we see each other at our dates. So they kept looking at each other, and same old, same old. So Maggie is at the mansion, and Sarah comes home after the whole Philip ordeal. And Maggie is saying, what's going on? So she said, I take it you haven't heard about Philip. So she's like, I was at the zoo with Victoria, what's going on? So she tell Maggie that Philip is badly beaten up. He has internal organ damage, he doesn't look well. So she had to talk to the police. And Kate is thinking that it's probably Xander. And she is just worried that it is him. Actually, he's been mad with Philip all this time. And Maggie put two and two together and say, she did see Xander earlier. He was icing his hand, and he claimed to say that he fell off, he hit into a railing or something like that. So Sarah's saying, like, this really proves that he possibly could have done it, right? So now they're just thinking, okay, Xander is possibly behind it. So Xander, in the meanwhile, he's at the police station for questioning, and he's waiting around impatient, wondering what's going on. So he asked the officer if he can go. He can go because he was sued the police station for holding him down without evidence. So they said he could go, but just don't leave town. So that's when he comes in to see Sarah and Maggie talking. So Sarah is angry with him already, and Sarah's like, Maggie, Mom, can you give me some free time to really talk to him? So she said, yeah, I'm gonna go visit Philip, right? So Maggie goes to Philip, and she is checking on him, and she's talking to him, and she's saying that, the last time we spoke, I was angry with you with what you did, and, bringing a lot of people into your drama, and how I feel about you. I can't stay mad at you. You're just like your father. And you're a fighter, and I know that you'll get through it. I'm praying for you. And that was really it with them. So I saved the best for last, or should I say the worst for the best, because this was the scene that I was definitely in tune for. If I forget little details, forgive me, but I was way in tune with this scene with Xander and Sarah. So finally the truth is out, because Sarah, at first, she was like, getting down on him about how Philip is badly beaten up, and Xander is wishing that he died. And is he gonna survive? So she's like, she doesn't really know yet. He's in pretty bad shape. So she's like, how could you be so mean, so callous? So you don't seem to have a heart about your brother being in that condition. So he's like, I really don't care. So she's like, what's with you, right? So she's like, did you have anything to do with it? So he's like, playing around, doesn't really care to answer. So she's like, answer me. So she's like, I know you have something to do with it, like you have this out for Philip. And then Maggie, Mom was telling me that you hurt your fingers. So like, it just tells me that you probably have done it, right? So he's like, how can you be so self-righteous when you were hiding this secret from me all along, and you knew? So she's like, what are you talking about? So he's like, don't play dumb, because that's beneath you. And he's saying to her that, look, like, I know that you had something to do with covering up the truth about Philip's forgery. How long did you know, right? So she's playing it off, and she's like, at first, she played it off, and she's like, I did, and I did it for various reasons. I did it to, protect you from self-sabotaging yourself. I knew that if you had all this money and power, that you were going to do something drastic with it. And look, I'm proven right. You did something to Philip, so maybe I was right to keep it from you all along. So he's saying, like, so you're justifying your action. And she is just saying that, I did it for the right reasons. I thought that you and I, you being married, you being a husband and father, that it will change you, you'll become decent. And I'm saying she is just going down and down on Xander. And she is not taking no accountability. She's acting like, oh, she's all perfect and she hasn't done anything wrong. And like, that was disgusting, disrespectful. And it's like she never had any faith in him. And if she feels that way about him and she's like, he has all these demons, why marry him? Why procreate with him? That is my big question. Like, I wasn't a Zara fan in the beginning, but it's like they weren't needed at all to be together. So she is saying to him like he needs to leave, and he's saying that it's my house. And she's saying, but my mom lives here, so I can stay here. And he's like, if I'm gonna leave, I'm taking Victoria. So she's like, no, Victoria, you stay with me. And he's saying like, why are you gonna take my daughter away from me? So she's saying like, I am more morally upright, like I didn't beat nobody, kill nobody, do all these things that you did. So anyways, she has all this nerve to like keep him away from his daughter. Like, he is not going to be. And she is not making no kind of sense. That is right, just my thing on that. So anyways, he packs his bag, he goes to see Victoria, and he tells her that he loves her and that he just wishes that he could be with her and protect her. And she is his light and everything. It's so heartfelt because he is a deeply flawed person. I'm not gonna not say that. And he was wrong for doing Philip like that. Philip don't deserve that. But I'm forever as undefined, good, bad, and indifferent. I do not care for Sarah one bit. Sarah sees Maggie, and Maggie is comforting her because she tells Maggie that Xander knows the truth, and she's mad at him, he's mad at her, and she doesn't think it can be fixed. It's a big mess, right? She comes up there and she overhears Xander talking to Victoria. So Xander said I was just saying goodbye to her, and she said she can see that. So he takes his bag, and she's saying that didn't want this to end up this way, so it's for the best. And he said like take care of his daughter, and you know she's all I care about at this point, because she tells him that it's over. But at this point, like, it's not even a big deal if they're over at all. So that's just really it, really. See, I wasn't a big fan of them from the beginning, so it is what it is with them. I really don't care if they split up or stay together. I'm just for Team Xander regardless. What is your stance on it? Team Xander, Team Zara, Team Sarah? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on today's episode and just this scene overall, because this was just the highlight of today. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to my channel. I will see you guys tomorrow.